More silvers of all types. More commons of all types. And the only one is the silver Mantis. You cannot be gifting subs to the silver Mantis, you fucking absolute circus. We're free.
It's done. Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.
We're free. Oh boy, a day of days of polish and finishing up and getting things done and becoming more powerful because a horrible screen popped up in front of me that said chapter 15, 16, whatever it is, finale. We have one more day to go. A few hours remain in our journey here in Yakuza, and I am obviously very sad that we've got there. I actually double checked. We're at 82 hours. 82 hours of Yakuza as of right now. And I'm okay with it because there's so much more to go. Like, our team meeting was buy Infinite Wealth now, buy like a Pirate Yakuza, all Ichiban stories, buy them, and I have them. They're purchased. For the future, we're going to have a little palette cleanser from Yakuza, because obviously, stream-wise, throwing 100 hours at a game is a lot, and then we'll have a palette cleanser before we come back to Yakuza, but we will be coming back. But we haven't finished just yet. Instead, it was time to really start polishing things up, get things done. There's a few things I've decided I'm not going to do, and I'll get to them shortly. It was a wonderful experience. It was... Let's start with the first thing that I did. I was annoyed that I wasn't able to upgrade my weapons for like the last, I don't know, 30 hours, I think, something like that. And everyone was just like, it's dungeons and stuff. And I really didn't like the dungeon, right? It was my only negative on the game. So I was like, all right, let's check some things out. So I went to the arena. The arena we unlocked earlier, I did like 5 levels of it and left it there. It turns out we actually went straight to the... Goro boss fight after that and didn't save. So everything I'd done in the arena in those first 5 levels was not saved. It was very bizarre when I got there. I was like, we've done 5, right? And they were like, yeah. And then, well, we mustn't have saved. And it was like, I think you went straight to Goro without saving and died. And it lost all the progress. Like, oh, fair enough. That makes sense. So we started the arena fresh. This was fine. It was okay. It was more fun than the dungeon because you got breaks every 5 levels if you wanted to. I think I did the first like 15 or maybe 20 in a row. And then every 5 levels stepped outside, save progress, get a meal, refresh consumables, because it really was a case of like just throw money at the problem, because there's these added incentives and bonus loot if you do things a certain, or kill them in a certain amount of turns, don't use any recovery skills, don't have any of your players get knocked out, don't swap any party members, which I've never done once in the whole game. A lot of don't use any skills, which was I only came up a couple of times, but essentially just ramping up. And it gave that incentive to think a little bit about what we were doing and strategize. Really like that, although it only really occurred, I would say, in the last 5 levels. I was pretty strong by the time I was going into the arena. And shout outs to Orbital Laser that you get for doing the business minigame. That helped so much with the short amount of turns. Just being able to do huge damage in AoE really helped out, especially with some of the tougher enemies. But I enjoyed this, and I actually managed to get, which prompted the weapon upgrades thing, I actually managed to get one of the ingredients for doing the final floor to upgrade Ichi's bat to its EX version. It's called like the Dark Soul Bat or something like that. And that was the final reward at floor 30 for getting this thing. But essentially, nice and fun, nothing too complicated, nothing hard, but definitely more incentivized and more interesting than the dungeon itself. So off I went and upgraded that, and then it was like, oh, we still need a bunch of bugs, essentially. So I was like, okay, well, likelihood is we can get them from the second dungeon, which is unlocked in Kamurocho. So I was like, we're doing this stuff now. Let's get through it. We had music going. We had TTS going. Everybody was having a wild time. There was a moment during this day where I got trolled so hard by my community that it's hard to put into words. I don't think you could relive it posthumously through the TDPs and stuff, so I checked the VOD for that one. It's not something that we can probably chop into something. It was a horrible experience for me, but a lot of fun for the people watching, and Chris. But we were doing the dungeon. It's exactly the same dungeon again. Like, it's the biggest weakness of this whole game is the dungeons. Really sad about that. A lot tougher enemies, a lot bigger of a dungeon as well. This took about an hour or so to get through, with nothing much of interest happening in there. It's more like just, another trash pack, another trash pack, another trash pack. In same environment. We turned the music off and had our own Yakuza playlist going because they have one continuous looping theme inside these dungeons. Cleared the dungeon, but did not get what I was looking for. Did get a bunch of really good stuff, though. Like, a lot of the raw minerals that I needed for weapon upgrades for the rest of the team. But we're lacking bugs. Primarily, it's Psycho's weapon. Psycho is missing 2. In the entire game, I've collected 1 silver Mantis. And she needs 3 to upgrade her weapon. I actually didn't realize I'd left their weapons so far behind, and they all have EX weapons. My team has been maybe 6 weapon levels behind where they could be for a long time. And so it was shocking how many upgrades I could give them to try and get them the EX weapons that they deserve. But Psycho was hard blocked by these silver mantises. So, then proceeded to be just the worst thing I've done. But fun in a way, but brutal. Is that how do we get silver mantises? It's not cans. And then the thought process was it was actually koi koi in the underground gambling thing, because we had seen that they sell silver insects from there. But what you can do there is just buy with money the tokens to acquire things from the vendor. You can either play the gambling games to acquire the tokens, so you pay less, or you could just flat out buy them. I've got 30 million yen in the bank. We're okay. We can go and print money if we have to at the business minigame. So I was like, all right, we'll go and do that. Went down there to do that. He sells a huge amount of silver insects, does not sell silver mantises. And I was like, oh my God. What is going on here? Why can't we get this? So, the other alternative is the park, but the park is completely RNG in terms of what insects you get there. And there's a lot of insects in the game, from commons to silvers to golds. So we must have some vendor somewhere. And then it dawned on people who Googled it. They're like, oh no. And it comes from shogi, the Japanese chess game. And there is no way of sort of just buying your way around it. It is the only source of silver mantis in the whole game. Now, I'm going to put a caveat in here because some of you will go, you could just do this and get around it. I went and played a game and I was like, the rules are very different to chess. Very, very different. And obviously the pieces and the tiles look very different. They have to do a description of it. It's clearly not something I'm familiar with. I've played a bit of chess. I'm by no means good at chess, but I can play the game a little bit and have a fun game with someone. Dude. I within the first game, I was like, I don't even know what these pieces are. Like, I'm not doing this. Yes, you can call it a rook or whatever, but it doesn't quite work the same. It doesn't go the way you think it's going to go. It can't do things you want to do. Pawns don't take in the right way and all this kind of stuff. I was like, just get me out of here. This isn't going to work. We're going to the park. I was like, we'll give it 12 minutes. That's what I said. We'll give it 12 minutes to see if these things will pop up. Well, I am partially convinced, although it is probably just RNG, that the silver mantis is the lowest drop rate of every insect in the game. Now, you're going to say, that doesn't sound right, but we have a pretty large-ish sample size, because we were here for an hour. I got, in that time, multiples of every other insect, including golden ones, which in your brain have a lesser chance to drop than silvers. I got loads of silver ones. In that hour, I got 2 silver mantises. The first silver mantis did not drop for 30 straight minutes, and I collected so many insects. Like, Ichiban's pockets are stuffed to death with this. And here's where people are like, you can cheese the shogi minigame by going to play the challenges, and the solutions have been posted online. I was like, I don't really want to do that. That just feels like giving up at this point. We have the sunk cost fallacy. The next one, I think it was 20 something minutes. It was it was quicker than the first, barely. Because once we got one, I was like, because it got so long. We've been there for like half an hour. I was like, maybe it just is bugged. The bug is bugged. Because we'd seen everything else. Golden dragonflies, golden spiders, so many mantises, commons, and just golden mantises. I'd seen everything but the silver mantis. I was like, maybe it just bugged or something like that. And then eventually it dropped. I was so relieved because everybody was mocking me so hard for this. Well, we got that and we upgraded the weapons as much as possible. It then turned out that if we wanted to EX some of the weapons, I think it's Ares' weapon or Psycho's, it does require you to do some other stuff in the game that we're probably not going to do, even though it would only take me probably an hour to do it. Like, one of them requires you to finish off part-time hero to its absolute maximum, and then spend 10 million to get the next ingredient that they need. That's fine. It needs like another 100 points, I think, to do it. And that means running around collecting all the cats, running around doing some more collectathons and some other bits and pieces, doing all the little side rescue quests, which are just find the NPC. It's like, hey, my husband's hiding out in the homeless camp. Can you go and find him? And you find him, you get the points. Not too fun, and also probably not necessary. We're at the end of the game, and we've made it here just fine. So I think we're going to leave that there. But it was a really fun day of just polishing bits and pieces off. Dragon Cart got completed. That was super fun. Dragon Cart finally unlocked. I think it doesn't unlock until the final chapter of the game to go and do that. But it finally unlocked, and we got the showdown with the actual hidden hero. It was like fighting Racer X from Speed Racer or something. The guy like revealed that the guy in the overalls who runs the kart place is actually this huge pocket racer champion of the past, and he would demolish everybody. So that's why he hides out. All these still very Yakuza twists were going on. One more side story is unlocked, which I don't know what it is. But other than that, I think for the most part, for the things I'm interested in, we have done everything in the game, like, of relevance. There's a couple of things that are missing that I would be interested in. Like, you can definitely romance, I think, 3 or 4 other ladies. But for whatever reason, those stats aren't quite capped. I could probably like buy the books to do it, but nothing actually happens. Like, you don't get any bonus for it. You just get some sex scene. And we've had that, so that's fine. So all that stuff is happening. Story-wise, though, it is time for the finale that shall be going into in my next play session and doing my final thoughts on this game, which you can probably tell what it is. We had the showdown with Aoki. It's going to come down. I have to assume he's the final boss of the game. And it's going to all come to a head. I don't know what happens following that, because there obviously is a sequel with Infinite Wealth. As to whether it just destroys and sends everything into the Wild West, because there's no one controlling, there's no puppeteer behind the scenes. But the rage that, the overall theme of the story is just the rage that Ichiban feels. Not only that now he knows his father's dead and been murdered, but just trying to contain, and they're going on a nice story arc with him of like, even this the situation couldn't be worse for him emotionally, and he's got to contain and focus it. And it's a really like touching thing that's going on amongst the absurdity of coin locker babies and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, wonderful. So final thoughts will be tomorrow. As I said, a few things we're not going to finish up because they're more like, you know, if I was an achievement chaser, those are the things I do. I'm not. I'm totally fine with what we've done before we descend into too much grinding, and I would consider the Mantis grind that I did to be my grind. So final thoughts tomorrow, team. And the journey will come to an end. Sadness. All right. Bye-bye.